Good morning to all. So today we had focus on the chapter which is Harvest by Manjula Padmanabhan. So in our last class we discussed regarding the chapter which was the Killing Time by Nasibu Monagusi. So in Killing Time, as the title suggests, the narrator is spending his time lazily at a cafe and notices the arrival of a man of 50 or above who finds a seat for himself away from the crowd and sits with a glass of beer. Then, as time goes by, the narrator notices that the man is lost in thought and is seriously involved in some personal dilemma. He idly fabricates many reasons for the moody temperament of the stranger. Meanwhile, as he closely watches the stranger, he suddenly realizes that he too is being observed by a third person. So after that, gradually the cafe is filled with smoke and he can see the old man amidst. Then the old man is trying to rise up. It is difficult to say whether the old man really rose with the table or the narrator imagined him so. So it is a kind of illusion. Then it is clear that the author is interweaving reality with magic. So here we have the reality as well as a kind of magic. So here the magic means a kind of illusion. So basically this was the concept of this magical realism which was used in this story by this author. So specifically the magical realism was a literary or the artistic genre in which the realistic narrative and naturalistic technique are combined with surreal elements of the dream or fantasy. So that's regarding the chapter which is the killing time. Now we had focus on regarding the chapter which is the harvest by Manjula Padmanabhan. So basically, Harvest is a three-act futuristic play, is an ironic and also sci-fi examination of the relations between developing and developed countries. So here the sci-fi means the science fiction. So basically this is a kind of three-act futuristic play by Manjula Padmanabhan. So first we had focus on regarding the author's details, who is Manjula Padmanabhan. So she was a Delhi-based writer, playwright, journalist, comic strip artist, and children's book author. So her books include Hot Death, Cold Soup in 1996, which is a collection of short stories. Then Getting There in 1999, which is a travel memoir. Then This is Sugi in 2000, which is a collection of her new Delhi strip Sugi. Then Hidden Fires in 2003, which is a collection of five dramatic monologues. And Kleptomania in 2004, which is a second collection of short stories. Then she has also written powerful plays which has Lights Out in 1984, then Hidden Fire in 1991, The Artist Model in 1995, The Searchlight in 1996, then Harvest in 1998. And also her fifth play which won the 1997 Onassis Award for Theatre. So basically, Harvest was her fifth play, which won the 1997 Onassis Award for Theatre. And also, her comic strips appeared weekly in the Sunday Observer in Bombay 1982 to 1986 and daily in the Pioneer, which is New Delhi based company, in 1991 to 97. Then Manjula has illustrated 25 books for children, including which is Words That Catch and The World Tour Mystery. Then her two novels for children, which includes The Mouse Attack and Mouse Invaders in 2003 and 4. Then after that, Double Talk is a collection of the Bombay strip by the same name. And also her comic strip character, which is Sugi, features in two separate collections. They are Double Talk in 2005, then This is Sugi in 2000. Then her latest novel, which was published in 2008, is titled as Escape. Then she is currently working on a sequel to Escape. So basically, these are some important works by Manjula Padmanabhan. So we have a vast collection of works by Manjula Padmanabhan. And also regarding this play, which is Harvest in 1998, this is her fifth play, and also it won the 1997 Onassis Award for Theatre. So these are some important details regarding the author, who is Manjula Padmanabhan, who is a Delhi-based writer, playwright, journalist, comic strip artist, and also children's books author. So now we had to focus on regarding this chapter itself, which is The Harvest, which is a three-act futuristic play, is an ironic sci-fi examination of the relations between developing and developed countries. With an apt title, the dystopian play describes how the unemployed like Om Prakash and his family sell their bodies to wealthy clients in the United States in return for food, water, shelter, and riches for themselves and their families. The theme of the play, which is Harvest, is the purchase and sale of human organs, and also it is the dark, bitter, savagely funny vision of the cannibalistic future that awaits the human race. So basically, it is a kind of futuristic play, which is the harvest. So here, the futuristic means a kind of term in which this play was written in 1998. She wrote about the reality or the future of the world. So basically, in 1998, she wrote about the purchase and sale of human organs. So basically, this is the theme of this play in which it is the purchase and sale of the human organs, and it is now globally accepted. So basically, it is a kind of futuristic vision of this author in which in this play we had focused on this concept in such a way that the purchase and sale of human organs. So here the cannibalistic nature of the human mind means a kind of animalistic kind of this nature, in which means that there is no value for the humankind. It is a kind of purchase and sale. It is a kind of business. So basically here we had to focus on regarding this topic, which is the purchase and sale of human organs. So regarding this play, we have Om Prakash, who is the main character in this play, and also the theme of this play is purchase and sale of human organs. So basically, this is a three-act futuristic play, and also it is a kind of ironic and also sci-fi examination of the relations between developing and developed countries. So here we have two categories: the developing and developed countries. So here we have the India and also the America. So basically, this play begins with the first act in which it centers on Om, who is the Om Prakash, who signs up to be an organ donor for an American woman named Ginny because there are no other jobs available for him in Mumbai. Ginny plays him to lead a clean and healthy life so she can harvest healthy organs whenever she needs them. Then she begins to control every aspect of Om's life, from when and what he eats to whom he sees and how he uses the bathroom. Then we have the interplanetary service in which controls the Om Prakash life, who reduces Om's house into a domestic unit where the family is forced to live according to Ginny's dictates. Then, though Om's wife Jaya is unhappy, she remains helpless. Then, this act exposes the hollowness of the first world countries that fail to realize the importance of human dignity. So here we had to focus on regarding the purchase and sale of these organs. So in the first act of this play, it centers on Om Prakash, who signs up to be an organ donor for an American woman who is Ginny, who is from these interplanetary services, in such a way that the interplanetary services reduces Om's house into a domestic unit where the family is forced to live according to the Ginny's dictates. So it is a kind of control by Ginny over the Om's house in which they are the donors and also the Ginny is the receiver. So basically it is a kind of sci-fi examination. Overall it is a kind of organ trade, especially the human organ trade between the developing and the developed countries. So here we have to focus on that topic, which is very important regarding this chapter. Then in the Act 2, Jitu, who is Om's brother, donates his organs, a case of mistaken identity. He is hapless victim of the indiscriminate organ sale. Then his eyes have been removed. Om is shocked to see his brother in such a deplorable state, yet it turns out that Jitu, who has been living for himself all these years, is ultimately paying a price by sacrificing his organs for the financial prospects of the family. So in the act 2 of this play, we have another character who is Jitu, Om's brother, who donates his organs, basically the eyes, in a case of mistaken identity. So Jitu is a hapless victim of the indiscriminate organ sale. So his eyes have been removed. Om is shocked to see his brother in such a deplorable state, yet it turns out that Jitu, who has been living for himself all these years, is ultimately paying a price by sacrificing his organs for the financial prospects of the family. So in the Act 2, Om's brother, who is Jitu, he donates his eyes for this Ginny's family, who is the receiver in this organ sale. So basically here we have an agreement by Ginny to take care of the entire family of Om. So here they chooses the eyes of this Jitu, who is the brother of Om. So basically this signifies that Om's brother, who is Jitu, is a hapless victim of this indiscriminate organ sale. So by this way, Om is ultimately paying a price by sacrificing his organs for the financial prospects of the family. So basically Om was a jobless man. So to get a kind of financial support, he signs an agreement with Ginny, who is from the interplanetary service, in order to sell his organs, his family's organs. So basically here they targeted the Jitu, who is the brother of Om. Now, focusing on the Act 3 of this play, the donation of organs turns out to be radical transformation from man to man machine when Virgil announces the desire to attain eternity by accepting fresh bodies for sustenance. So, Virgil was another receiver of this organ transplantation or the organ sale. So basically here we had focused on one important fact regarding the organ transplantation, in which the donation of organs turns out to be a radical transformation from man to man machine. So it is very important, from man to man machine. Then the play suggests some of these market forces in its characterization of Virgil as a habitual receiver who has already used up three transplant bodies by the time he targets G2 as a donor. So basically, Virgil is a kind of habitual receiver, which means a kind of casual receiver of these organs. So basically, here we are focusing regarding the Virgil, in which he was a habitual receiver who has already used up three transplant bodies by the time, and then he targets G2, who is the brother of Om Prakash, as a donor. Then what seems to be a mere organ transplant turns out to be apocalyptic. Then man's desire to control the cycle of birth and death is diabolic. Then such a perception is maniacal, and it is Jaya who ultimately ends the ruthless approach of Virgil. So here we have another part of this play, in which Virgil was initially was a kind of habitual receiver. So basically, the habitual means a kind of colloquial term, a kind of very meaningful term, in such a way that Virgil approached Jaya, who is the wife of Om Prakash, in order to get a kind of relationship. So basically, it is a kind of minor part of the story. So basically, the intention of the Virgil, who is the receiver of this organ transplantation, so basically, he was a habitual receiver. But Jaya was not interested in these kinds of relationships. So basically, this is the final part of this play, which is the Act 3. So we have three acts that we have to keep in mind. The first one is regarding the setting up these kinds of agreement between the interplanar services, which includes the Jinni, who is the main receiver, and then we have the Virgil. So it is the first part of this play, the Act 1. Then moving to the Act 2 of this play, we have the Jitu, in which he donates his organs, especially the eyes, to Virgil. So basically, he is a hapless victim of the indiscriminate organ sale. Then in the final part, in the third act of this play, we had to focus on the character of this Virgil, who is a habitual receiver who has already used up three transplant bodies by the time then he targets Jitu as a donor. So that's regarding this three act play by Manjula Patnaman, which is The Harvest. So basically, the title of the play, it signifies the purchase and sale of human organs. So it signifies a kind of business, a kind of harvest, in which taking the productive things from the cultivation. So here it is the harvest of human organs, in which it was taken by the receiver, who is Jinni, as well as the Virgil, and also regarding the company, which is the Interplanet Services. So that's regarding this play. Then moving to the page number 139 of this test, we had to focus on some important facts regarding this play. So basically, this is a parable of what will happen when the rich denizens of the first world begin to devour the bits and pieces of the third world poor. So basically, it is a play about how the first world cannibalizes the third world to fulfill its own desires. The play explicits the control of the human world by the world of machines, then the use of electronic devices and turning them into characters is a strategy cleverly deployed by the playwright to reinforce the theme of the play. Then there begins the play of machines and machine-like men. So it is very important regarding this play. The play of machines and machine-like men. So here the machine-like men means the Virgil and the Jinni. So they are the representative of the machine world, in which they instructing, commanding, interfering, and grabbing the human lives. Then the entry of the guards from the interplanet services shows the futuristic picture of the modern times, where the machines will replace and distance human beings gradually. Then, however, in a final act of defiance, the seeds of rebellion flower in a checkmate ploy by Om's wife, who is Jaya. Then the author's vision of a post-apocalypse future is dark, but told with rich irony and humor. Then this play can be seen to be a dealing with many issues facing the undeveloped world, such as poverty and disease. Then it highlights the way in which poverty can limit moral options and degrade human lives. Then one of the most prominent features of the play is its strong links to post-colonialism and globalization. Then the Western nations position themselves as a natural recipients of other cultures, human and material resources, thereby exploiting the cross-cultural relationships. So basically, this signifies the post-colonial aspect of this play, which is the harvest, in such a way that the Western nations position themselves as a natural recipients of other cultures, human and material resources, thereby exploiting the cross-cultural relationships. Such an attitude reflects the economic and social legacies of Western imperialism, particularly as they converge with new technologies. Then this play could also be read as a tale that warns about the misuse of modern medical and reproductive sciences. So basically this play is a kind of warning, and also we already discussed regarding the topic which is the futuristic concept of this play. So basically this signifies that this play was written in 1998, and during that time the author signifies that this play was set in 2010. And also now in 2021, it is very clear that the theme of this play is relevant. And also it signifies that the purchase and sale of human organs, and this is described as a kind of dark, bitter, savagely funny vision of the cannibalistic future that awaits the human race. So this signifies that there is no value for the humankind. There is no value for the humanism. Instead, the human beings they act like the machines, and also it signifies the animalistic kind of culture of the human beings. So that's regarding this play, which is Harvest. So regarding this play, we have some important characters, which includes the Om Prakash, who is the protagonist of the story, then Mother, who is Ma, who is silent. Then regarding Jaya, she was the wife of Om Prakash. Then we have the recipients, which includes the Jinni and Virgil, then brother Jeetu, and also the Interplanetary Services. So that's regarding this play, which is the Harvest by Manjula Patnaban. So basically, this is a futuristic play, and also this play was set in the year 2010. So basically, this play was written in 1998, and also this play was set in the year 2010. So that's why this play is called as the futuristic play. And also we have the references to donors and receivers in this play, and also the playwright has taken and molded the grim relatives of life into a 21st century table in which powerful questions are thrown open like the limits of poverty and wanted material. Then, regarding the setting of the play, in the opening scene, we can find a cramped single room in Mumbai Chowl, which forms the setting of the play. Then also, this play is occupied by a typical four-member family. So here we have the Om Prakash, who is a tense and also a jobless clerk, and he is desperately trying to support his family. His wife is Jaya, is resigned to the life of insecurity and privatization. Then she looks worn out and much older than she really is. Then Om Prakash's old mother, instead of being a benevolent and encouraging influence, is frustrated, ill-natured and sarcastic. Then Om Prakash's younger brother, who is Jeetu, has already given up all hopes of getting a decent employment, and he now works on the sly as a male prostitute. Then poverty, starvation, unemployment, food shortage, and conflicts haunted the people. Then, in order to ward off this starvation, these desperate men like Om Prakash join inquiring outside the interplanetary services. So, this is a kind of contract firm in which a high-tech company which chooses able-bodied candidates to donate their organs to the Western buyers who live in perpetual fear of old age, accidents, or the faintest signs of bodily decay. Once the donor commits his life to a wealthy receiver, the receiver pays for the donor and his family's upkeep. But there are conditions. The donor is now kept under constant surveillance by means of regular long distance call on a video module. Thus, the donor's privacy is invaded. He has to adjust with various things that force him to change his life according to the whims of the buyer. Thus, the contract involves some kind of frustrated slavery. So here this is regarding the interplanetary services. So basically it is a kind of contract firm, a high-tech company which chooses able-bodied candidates to donate their organs to Western buyers who live in a perpetual fear of old age, accidents, or the faintest signs of bodily decay. So thus the contract involves some kind of futuristic slavery. And also this is a kind of frustration for the donors. So having committed himself to such a job, Om Prakash now enters into such a world. He planned to sell his organs to a person called Jinni for a short period of comfortable living. So Ginny was a woman who is irresistibly Georgia's blonde far off in California, and also Om Prakash only acquaintance with her is through the video screen. Then he sells his organ to save her. After making the deal, Om Prakash apartment undergoes the dramatical external changes. It is transformed into an air-conditioned aesthetic but utilitarian but come living room with a well-fitted kitchen and toilet. Now Jaya sits painting her nails all day long and cryptic Olma is glued to the new television set. But behind Ginny's seductive video image, there lurks a Mephistopheles. By the time Ginny is ready to claim her part as a receiver, then Om Prakash betrays his brother Jeetu, then Jeetu betrays his beloved, and also regarding the mother, who is Ma, sinks into the abyss of this television. However, the interplanetary services comes to the house of Om and Jaya as soon as Om gets a job. He says he got it very easily through there were 6,000 men waiting under the sun for the job. So even without his own knowledge, he becomes the donor of organs for the receivers of first world countries. So here we have the third world countries and also the first world countries, which means the developed countries and developing countries. Then also Jaya is forced to pretend as his sister, as it is mandatory that a donor must be bachelor. Then the guards and agents of the interplanetary services take over the entire charge of Om's house. Then the interplanetary service is using Om only as a decoy to get Jeetu younger and more energetic, who has much healthier organs. So their target was Jeetu, who is the brother of Om. Then also we have the second receiver, who is Virgil, and also Virgil was interested in Jaya, who is the wife of Om Prakash, for a relationship. But she denies it, and after all, Jeetu's eyes were transplanted to the Virgil. So that's regarding the plot of this play, which is The Harvest by Manjula Padmanabhan. So basically this play has 3 acts, and also the structure is traditional, comprising of acts and scenes, and also the characters are also divided into 3 categories: donors, agents, and guards and receivers. So basically donors, second one is the agents and guards, and finally the receivers. So here the donors are the family of Om Prakash, and the agents or guards are not present in this play. They are the minor characters, and we have the receivers, which includes the Ginny and also the Virgil. So that's regarding this play, which is The Harvest by Manjula Padmanabhan. So today we discuss regarding the play, which is The Harvest, which is a futuristic play, and also we discuss regarding the major content, the plot of this play, and also the major characters. So I'll be sharing the major notes at the time of interaction. So in the next class, we'll be focusing on the chapter, which is a poem, The House of Thousand Doors by Meena Alexander. So that's for today. Thank you. Happy learning.